Magnetic field deficiency or drive. Nakagawa's disease. The science of inner strength grew out of Qigong. Qigong is a complex system for managing the body, its internal psychophysical state, as well as treating and maintaining the body in good shape. There is a concept of the microcosm in Qigong, located within us, and the macrocosm, all that surrounds us. The planetary practice of Qigong helps you understand your connection with the cosmos and harmonize all the processes of interaction with it. This is not an abstract theory, but practical exercises with a scientific explanation. Everyone knows that material objects are made up of molecules and atoms. The organs of the human body are made up of cells based on molecules and atoms. This is usually the end of most people's knowledge, and only scientists will say that atoms are made up of subatomic particles. What are subatomic particles made of? Of energy. All living organisms and material objects in the universe consist of energy and are energy microsystems that interact with each other. And each object, both living and material, has its own electromagnetic field, or electromagnetic radiation peculiar to a particular object. Soviet scientists recorded the glow of objects of organic and inorganic origin in the 20th century, including the glow of a person. It was also observed that the nature of the glow changed depending on the mental or physical state of the body. As a result of research, scientists have found out that there is an electromagnetic field around every person. Most creatures that sense electric fields and their changes in nature are able to perceive information through the interaction of natural fields with the body's own electric field. In 1967, the Leningrad physiologist P.A. Gulyev, using special probing amplifiers, managed to register electric fields around the nerves of muscles, the heart of a frog, a flying mosquito and a bumblebee, as well as around a person at a distance of 10-25 centimeters. The brain is a neural network, a kind of wire that transmits electrical impulses that need a kind of recharge. About 50 years ago, Drive. Nakagawa, a well-known Japanese scientist, described the new disease as human magnetic field deficit syndrome. A sharp increase in the external magnetic field, for example, during a magnetic storm or in an active geomagnetic zone, always negatively affects your health. Many people may have experienced this for themselves. However, the excess of the magnetic field is a temporary state. When the external magnetic field is weakened, the consequences for a living organism can be much more negative. Canadian scientist J. Crane studied a number of organisms in a special chamber with a smaller magnetic field than the Earth's. After a 72-hour stay in such conditions, the ability of bacteria to reproduce decreased sharply, by 15 times, the neuromotor activity of birds decreased, and the metabolism of mice accelerated. In the case of a longer stay in a weakened magnetic field, irreversible changes occurred in the tissues, and infertility developed. A similar experiment was conducted by a group of Russian scientists led by L. Nepomniachtchi. They put the mice in chambers shielded from the Earth's magnetic field. The cubs of these mice were born bald and grew up sick. Modern people live among a large number of metal machines, buildings, structures. In the Maine, Massachusetts, we all move very little and rarely go out into nature. As a rule, we work, live and sleep in reinforced concrete buildings, and get to work by any means of transport. All this huge metal Massachusetts leads to an incorrect redistribution of the magnetic field. Metals attract the magnetic field to themselves, depriving it of people and animals. This is how a person creates a permanent deficit of the magnetic field, and as a result, the work of various organs and systems is disrupted, but first of all, the circulatory system. By the way, it is very likely that the chronic deficit of the magnetic field brought the incidence of cardiovascular diseases to the first place in the world among all other diseases. According to Drive. Nakagawa, the composition of blood, among other numerous components, includes metal ions, so the current of blood in the vessels leads to the formation of a magnetic field around them. Since blood vessels supply absolutely all parts of the body with blood, it means that a magnetic field is formed everywhere. A decrease in the magnetic field in the environment leads to a decrease in the circulatory system, resulting in circulatory disorders, slowing or suspending the transport of oxygen and vital nutrients to organs and tissues, which leads to the development of disease. The lack of a magnetic field causes significant harm to human health. The main symptoms of this syndrome are general weakness, fatigue, reduced performance, insomnia, headache, depression, joint and spine pain, high blood pressure, heart disease, hypertension and hypotension, digestive disorders, skin changes, prostatitis, gynecological dysfunction and a number of other processes. They tried to compensate for the lack of a magnetic field with various magnetic devices or by wearing magnets on themselves in the form of magnetic bracelets, etc. There was no significant improvement in the condition, although magnetic bracelets are still successfully sold. The creator of the concept of a fuel-free generator, John Searle, claimed that the magnetic field, like light, has a spectrum and they are almost identical. People live in society, communicate both at work and at home respectively, their magnetic radiation is mixed. The magnetic field among people is not very clean, because each person exchanges their field with the surrounding space, polluting it. Interference from electrical devices also does not add cleanliness. If the magnetic field is compared to water, then the cleanest is at the springs. It is also better to take the magnetic field from sources until there are deviations. The human body perceives two streams of energy, from above from space, and from below from the earth. The energies of the planets of the solar system are much cleaner, their vibration level is higher than that of the Earth's energy. In the science of internal force, in the planetary practice section, it is generally assumed that people connect the brain to certain magnetic radiation emanating from planets and stars. The planets of the solar system have the right spectrum for certain organs. For example, Venus is very good for the lungs, Mars for the heart, the Moon for the kidneys, and so on. The Earth's magnetic spectrum is yellow. And all the magnetic fields that come from space to Earth are mixed with it. People are used to receiving magnetic radiation with an admixture of Earth's energy. By switching to planetary practice, practitioners teach their organs to perceive the radiation of planets directly. This should be done gradually. These lessons describe in detail the sequence and frequency of practices. The entire course is designed to gradually move from simple to complex exercises, while not memorizing them, but trying to understand what is happening in the body, what it needs right now, and what exercises can help each individual in his state and at the moment.